and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So today is a video requested by you guys. So I love it when you guys make suggestions of videos because I get really excited and they really help me because obviously I want to make content that helps you. So please do keep sending in your requests or contact me on social media, email, whatever feels good for you. So today the question was, how can I tell the difference between ego versus illusion? So what does each other sound like? And to be honest, like I have been asking those same questions like over the last 8 months. Like I've really since developed my psychic intuition, which has obviously given me a lot of information. Like a lot of information has come to me, like dates, things that are gonna happen, you know, loads of stuff. And I'm like, can I trust this? What is this? And you know, if those things don't then happen, I'm like, did I make that up? Like, was this my ego tricking me? Like, why didn't that happen? So what I want to do is explain today the different kind of concepts behind ego versus illusion. Ego versus illusion, that's not what I want about. Ego versus intuition is what I'm trying to say, and what we can do to obviously determine the difference. So ultimately, your intuition is, if you have no idea what intuition is, it is your kind of gut feeling, your kind of core soul center where you can tune in and receive messages, information or prediction, shall we say, for things that are going to happen in the future. So your intuition will sound very calming, like when you really ground and center yourself. So sometimes, especially when you're kind of like in the beginning stages, it's not as easy as just saying, what's my intuition saying? What am I listening to? Like sometimes you can, depending on your spiritual connection, but if like you kind of struggle to hear that, you're really not going to be able to just be like, my intuition says. Like you're gonna need to like really ground yourself, do some practices, like get into that kind of vibration or that kind of feeling to receive. So what you can do is meditate. Meditation, I find, is probably one of the most powerful ways to connect to intuition. Recently I've been working more with my spirit guides to receive psychic messages or intuition. So to me, I work with my spirit guides a lot, but that looks different for everybody else. Like if you haven't met your spirit guide yet, that's fine. You can obviously listen to your intuition. So in the past, before I've like really developed this like skill and been able to be like, holy shit, I am psychic, like this is happening. I always had a really good intuition. I always had a knowing, and I know this is one of the clairvoyant things, like there's loads of clairaudient, clairvoyant, oh god, I forget them all, but basically one of them's like a knowing. And I've known for a very long time that I've just known things like more to do with my own life. I sometimes would say other stuff for other people, but overall it was like definitely for myself. For my own life, I would feel things, I would just know things. And even as much as I tried to convince myself my exes were the one, like I just had this little voice which was like, no they're not, like it doesn't feel right. And to me I felt that was my ego. At the time I was like, this is my ego, like what is going on? But it's almost like that niggling, undeniable feeling. Like although it may not seem positive all the time, especially when I started listening to it, it wasn't like really positive because I had to clear a lot of shit out of my life, so it wasn't gonna be positive to start off with. But it was just that niggling underlying feeling which I couldn't shift. So undeniably, intuition is a feeling you just cannot shift. Like you'll just keep feeling it until you witness it. So that is intuition. It's not ego, because your ego will give up after a while. Your ego will kind of just think, oh, she's not fucking listening, right, let's move on to the next thing, right, how else can we sabotage you today? Like your ego will not continue this mission, like it will just give up and try a different approach. Whereas your intuition will not change its story. Like you will keep hearing the same things or feeling the same things, sensing the same things, and you'll think like, okay, something doesn't quite feel right. Like that's how you know when like something, what should we say, bad you're sensing. But ultimately then nothing's ever bad. It's all leading you to exactly where you're meant to be, what's meant for you. So always, like, when you do sense things, like, you know, although it may not be what you want, like, try not to worry. Like, know the universe has your back, know that you're protected, and know that you don't want something if it's not freaking meant for you. So let it go, release, be fluid with the universe, and let whatever is meant for you come to you. So ego, essentially. So I kind of talk about the negative sides of intuition. Well, it's not negative, it's just kind of like you don't want to hear it kind of thing. It's that kind of truth bomb. You're like, fuck. So yeah, you will know what your intuition feels like, because it will just be that undeniable feeling you just can't shift. No matter how much you try, it's still there saying, think you should reconsider, think you should do this. Like, you won't hear it like that essentially, but it will just be a feeling which you can't shift. So positive intuition, shall we say, I mean, it's all positive, but do you know what I mean, like the happy stuff, shall we say, which you kind of sense or predict. Like, sometimes I know I get into a stage where I'm like, oh, is this wishful thinking? Like, oh my god, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to reverse it, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So when I sense something which is like a happy thing or a successful thing, especially like in business or whatever in my life, you know, I'm just like, okay, that feels good, you know, that feels good. I'm just going to trust this. I'm just going to let it go, surrender it, but that feels good. I know I'm on the right path. I know I'm in the right direction. So when your intuition and when you really begin to listen to it and in tune to it, it will sound very calm, very profound, very just short and sweet. It's really not going to be like a really long drawn out message which is like blah 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 blah, blah. Like, it's just not. It's literally just going to be like, you know the answer, yes, no, follow your heart. Like, you, whatever it is, like, it will just be really profound, really short and really sweet. And it will probably be in maybe terminology or words which you probably wouldn't normally use. I know mine is, like, I'm very excitable and very just like, yes, and like my spirit guides and my intuition will use normal English language words and like really, you know, make it sound really like Shakespearean and really like poetic, and I'm just like, okay, that's definitely not me. So that's how I can really clearly tell the difference personally. It may look different to you guys, but that's kind of the guide I would say. You know, it's gonna sound formal, it's gonna sound really just profound and to the point, like a prophecy, like an oracle. Like, it's just gonna sound, boom, there's your answer. And then your ego, let's move on to ego. So ego is gonna sound, especially to me, more like how I talk now. So my ego is like, oh hell no sister, blah, 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 like literally like really dramatic, really like up and down, there is no in between. So your intuition, when it speaks to you, will sound all on one level. It will be very, I don't want to say like monotone, but it will sound very kind of all one level. It will not be dramatic, it will not be like, oh yeah, this is happening, or like blah 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 blah. It will just be very kind of like, yes, yes, this is happening, yes, or do you know what I mean? It will just be very boom, to the point, whereas your ego is very much high pitch, low pitch, dramatic, just dramatic in all senses, and it will be very much past tense, it will be very much future tense, it will be telling you to fear things, it will be triggering you, and ultimately your intuition, when you listen to it, will be very present tense. That's what I want to say here. Like, intuition is always very present tense, whereas ego is ultimately past tense, future tense all the time. Like, it's never in the now, it's never a grounded present response. It's always like, well, this happened to you before, so this is gonna happen again, oh my god, you need to fear the future, ah! Like, it will just sound really off, and when you listen to it, you'll be like, nah, like, you will know, you will just know, you'll be like, okay ego, I see you, like, I know what's happening. So you will just know, ultimately. Like, again, that's intuition. You will just know what the right answer is, you will know which kind of voice to listen to, essentially. But yeah, as I said, now I've developed that through meditation, I've developed that through just listening, through trusting, through being right. So for instance, the last couple of months I've like been predicting dates. So I'm like, last month for instance, in July I was like the 15th, the 25th and the 5th were really going to be important dates, and they were all of them. Like, big things happened on, and I was like, oh my god, like this is freaky, like how is this happening? Like I didn't know what was going to happen, ideally the events. I knew roughly the kind of genre of the events that were going to happen, but yeah, it was still magical and really good. So I've done that again this month, so I'm like, okay, let's see what happens, like let it go, surrender it. And I think also the reason why I am sensing more, hearing more, and kind of predicting things more is because I have surrendered so much in my life. I fully well know that the universe would not be giving me this intuition or insight if I was still in my like controlling bitch stage where I'm like, I need to know everything. Why isn't this happening? So because I've surrendered literally everything in my life and I'm just so calm and fluid and just like, meh, today's today, I'm gonna live for today. This is why it works so well. So if you're struggling to hear your intuition, if you're struggling to maybe predict things if you want to, that can also be why, because you need to be in a really grounded present state where whatever you're gonna hear isn't gonna like send you off like Krakatoa level. It's not gonna like send you off and be like, oh my god, like it's just gonna be like, okay, I hear that, great, I look forward to whatever's gonna happen on that date, perfect. So a lot of it is intention. Like obviously you can just put out to the universe or put out to your spirit guides that, you know, yes, I really want to develop my intuition, I want to work with it more. Obviously your chakras are really important as well to work on when you're working with your intuition. Your third eye and your crown chakra are your spiritual chakras, so obviously you want to be connected to them and make sure that they are, you know, working properly and they're aligned. And also your base chakra, your root chakra as well, is important because then you are grounded and you're in the perfect place. So basically just work on all of your chakras because that's always a benefit. I'm definitely not just going to pick out a few. All of them are important, but those are the kind of ones I would focus on primarily and more regularly. So now when I receive intuition or necessarily want to know things, should I say, I definitely go to my spirit guides more just because I have such open conversation with them now. They are a little bit dramatic, I won't lie. Like I don't think they're ego, definitely not. They're like beings of love, they're in the divine, but ultimately like they can be a little bit dramatic. So for instance, one of my spirit guides literally just comes in and is like, this is happening today, mic drops and runs off, and I'm like, oh my god, like why are they so dramatic? Like why can't they just say, Emma, like something's gonna happen today, this is gonna be great? Like just so dramatic. And it always does. That's the creepiest thing. Like something, that thing, whatever they say is happening, I'm like, oh my god. So you can like even hear your spirit guides giving you that intuition and that kind of guidance. So yeah, now I normally kind of just center myself, call upon them like to surround me, and then I normally say like, right, I need some help. What do I need to do? What feels good? Like, am I on the right path? Like, what's gonna happen with this? And they always just like give me just really, again, profound messages. Although some can be dramatic, they do give me, again, profound, just, you know, it sounds different. And if you listen to my podcast with Natalie Miles, like who was amazing, she said, you know, as well, your spirit guides do sound like your own voice in your head. And that's what I want to stress. It does sound like your own voice. It's just tweaked a little bit. So for me, I have a lot of masculine spirit guides, so obviously the voice is a lot deeper and a lot more kind of in tune with how these people sound. So yeah, you will notice there's a difference definitely, but for me, like the more I've evolved, the more I do listen to my gut feelings and I do listen to my intuition definitely, because I just get these feelings, I just know things, and they've just all been proven right, which is the craziest thing. And like Delano is so funny because I'm always like, Delano, I'm not psychic. He's like, when will you realize you are a woman? He was like, the amount of stuff you say and things happen, like he was like, for God's sake, Emma, admit it. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, there's probably like so many instances now where this just cannot be denied anymore. So you will find it definitely enhances and grows after time. Like it's all about just practicing, all about setting that intention to connect to your intuition and to connect to, yeah, wanting to read these messages. But the key top tips here would be like to determine the difference between ego and intuition is you will just know, like your ego will sound like you, it will just sound like really high pitch, low pitch, really dramatic, just up and down, and like I said, it would be very past tense or future tense. Whereas your intuition is just very grounded, it's very just profound, like it's very now, in the now, it's just very all one level, there's no dramatics, it's just boom, there's your answer. And like I said, if you're kind of like ignoring that, or you've kind of heard something and then you're like putting it off, like it will just be that kind of niggling feeling in the back of your mind. You just can't shift, and you're like, yep, okay, I think that might be my intuition. So you can just trust that, like I said, your ego will give up after a while. Your ego will be like, damn, let's find another way to sabotage her today. Like it will just happen. And obviously, like over time, as you work on your self-love, you can obviously calm your ego down. So my ego like doesn't even pop up at all anymore. Like there's brief moments like where either I go into judgment mode or something like that, and it will pop up and I'm just like, whoa, like where have you come from? So the more you work on your self-love, the more you really dissolve the ego and work it down, the more you will just hear your intuition loud and clear, and it will be able to step through more. It will be able to communicate with you more because you're just listening to it more. Like the ego is dissolved and you will just hear it so much clearer. So I hope that video has helped you guys. Yeah, if you want to learn more about spirit guides, obviously I've got a video on it on here, and also the Natalie podcast I did was really useful as well, so I'll link that down below for you. So thank you so much guys for watching my video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all. And you can also join my free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook. The link again is down below, where you can come and join like-minded souls and me, and just be free to be positive and have a safe space to talk all things Law of Attraction and spirituality. So thank you guys for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love guys.